Who needs a quirk when you have Midoriya? Written by Lily Penwielder. Read by My Lost and Found. Summary. Prompt. For the 2A midterm, the hero students are set to fight their teachers once more. The catch? Students wear quirk suppressant bracelets. Support items like capture weapons, amps, arm grenades, and even sugar packets are prohibited, as the exam is to test their resourcefulness and their ability to fight without using their quirks. Shinso and Midoriya are set to go up against Aizawa, and proceed to show how fighting quirkless is done. Or, Shinso has seen hints of it during the sports festival, but he honestly had no clue how fucking resourceful a quirkless Midoriya could be. Shota Aizawa didn't mean to overhear, but knowing Nezu and his fondness for subtle manipulation, he's pretty sure the door was left ajar on purpose. I just can't. The voice of Mirio rings out. I've spent all this time on my quirk, and I'm nothing without it. There's a silence so heavy, even Nezu refrains from his usual sips of tea. I just can't. Mirio's voice is laced with pain and sadness, a note of wistfulness ringing through. I just wish I thought to train more without it. Shota Aizawa wasn't meant to overhear, but that's not going to stop him from doing something about it. Man, we've sure been spending a lot of time on quirkless sparring this year. Kaminari flops dramatically onto the couch, an ice pack on his knuckles. I love it! Uraraka shouts, mimicking a couple of punches. Being able to fight is way more useful against villains than just using my quirk would be. Midoriya nods and points an ever-present pen at Kaminari. Honestly, you're the one who has the most to gain from this kind of training, Kaminari. Not having to rely on your quirk for long-range attacks would drastically improve your effectiveness. I mean, just think how much easier it would be if you focused on martial arts while also using your body as a human taser. It's shocking how simple it would be for you to become faster if you just trained at parkour and gymnastics for a bit and... Uraraka slaps a hand over her friend's mouth as she laughs at a now passed-out Kaminari. Maybe save the advice for when he's awake. Midoriya flushes and returns to scribbling in his notebook as more of the class trickles in. Ashido pounces on the couch, and by extension onto Kaminari, who awakes with a pained yelp. I can't believe our hero training midterm is tomorrow! I'm gonna scream! Hitoshi politely refrains from pointing out that she is already, in fact, screaming. Well, following the theme of the year, it will probably involve not using our quirks. Maybe 1A versus 1B split? Or a shuffle into teams? We had a whole unit on standard weapons. Maybe we'll have to take down robots with those instead of our quirks. No. Hitoshi interjects sternly. We're not spending our free time worrying about this. I don't want to hear any more about midterms. It's quiet. Then... Do you think we'll have to write poetry for the English exam? Hitoshi throws a cushion at him. For your midterm, you'll be wearing these. Aizawa-sensei holds up what looks like a thick bracelet in one hand, and a modified gym uniform in the other. You've been split into groups of 2, and will have to rely on ingenuity and resourcefulness to defeat your opponent. The bracelets are quirk suppressors, and the uniforms are specially padded to prevent injury. Anything else is banned. No capture weapons, amps, arm grenades, sugar packets, or support items of any kind. You rely on your wits, your brains, and most importantly, your teammate. Murmurs begin to break out, but a simple look from Aizawa-sensei is enough to quiet everyone down. There are 3 ways to win. First,
You can choose to hide. Both teammates must successfully remain in hiding for the duration of the test to evade capture and earn a win. Second, you can choose to try and exit where only one of you must cross to win. Third, you can choose to fight, knowing that you have no weapons or capture tape or any other resources to rely on. Are there any questions?
Midoriya's hand flies in the air. How did UA get quirk suppressant bracelets for each of us? The rarity of a quirk like yours, and by extension, the infamous erasing bullets, lies in the fact that they work on all quirks, whereas quirk suppressing cuffs, bracelets, and medications need to be coded for the individual quirk. Are they marked enough to be able to tell them apart? I guess size-wise some of them would be more obvious than others, but even so, there would be a margin of error. Is Yui going to adequately destroy them after the exam to ensure they don't fall into the hands of villains? Are you? Aizawa-sensei tiredly raises his own hand and pinches the bridge of his nose.
Are there any questions about the exam?
Midoriya puts his hand down. Hitoshi smirks. Wait a minute, Sensei. Those are valid questions. The people demand answers! Kaminari calls out as Sero shouts, You can't stop the truth! Aizawa-sensei stares at the ceiling beseechingly as more voices clamor until, finally, he claps his hands for quiet.
Answers will go to those who pass. Midoriya, Shinso, you're up first.
The two boys scramble to catch the nearest labeled bags tossed at them. Who are we fighting, Sensei? Aizawa grins as the class takes a reflexive step back.
Me.
The bus rumbles beneath their feet as Aizawa-sensei drives them to the testing ground.
You'll have 10 minutes to plan and hide if you choose. After that, the test will last for 20 minutes or until one of us has lost.
Hitoshi turns to Midoriya, who silences him with a quick motion. The green-haired boy holds out a small notebook and pen where he's already written, We shouldn't try to plan on the bus. Hitoshi concedes the point with a tilt of his head, and the rest of the ride passes in silence. Okay, so I think first of all we should establish our resources. Hitoshi frowns and continues to stretch as Midoriya sits down and begins writing. Resources. Midoriya, the whole point of the exercise is that we don't have any. He trails off as he catches sight of what Midoriya is writing. Skills. Izuku. Strength. Shinso. Sneaky. Possible weapons. Shoes. Socks. Jackets. Pen? Paper? Airplanes for distraction. Eraserhead. Capture scarf. Secret knife. Hitoshi blinks. Secret knife? Midoriya beams but continues scribbling. Yeah, I'm listing Sensei's support items since there's no rule that says we can't steal his. And Aizawa-sensei carries a special knife that's designed to cut through his capture weapon in case it ever gets tangled. Hitoshi decides not to dwell on how Midoriya knows that, and simply grins evilly.
Does he now?
Midoriya doesn't respond, so Shinso brings up the other thing he noticed. Shoes? His green-eyed classmate finally looks up. Oh, sorry, I should have asked you if you were okay going barefoot first. It's just, mine are steel-toed, and they're practically weapons already. He rubs the back of his head sheepishly. Hitoshi thinks back to all the times kids stole his shoes in middle school. Running home while being chased shoeless wasn't exactly a walk in the park, but he can't deny that he's gotten pretty good at it. Yeah, barefoot is fine. He pulls off his shoes and socks while Midoriya expertly knots his own laces together. Won't that make throwing them kind of difficult? Midoriya tilts his head questioningly. Throw them? I wouldn't try that. Aizawa-sensei would just dodge, and then we'd be minus a weapon. These are more like improvised nunchucks. Yeah, like we would swing them around simply to keep him back and hopefully tangle the capture weapon so that he has to draw his knife. Hitoshi stares at his classmate, desperately trying to keep up.
So, what do you want with our socks?
Midoriya grins. Nezu sips his tea and serenely watches the monitors as all around him, teachers start losing their shit. "What is he doing with those rocks?" Midnight yells.
"Did he just smash a window?" "He's using a shard to cut up his jacket."
No, it's just the sleeves. See, he's putting the vest back on." "Was that a pun, Hizashi? I swear to God."
"Is he filling their socks with bricks?"
"No, I think it's the rocks from earlier." "What are they doing now?" Nezu takes another serene sip. For once, he is thoroughly entertained.
Midoriya?"
The boy grunts questioningly.
"What are you doing?"
The boy looks up from where he's slowly bending a streetlight down towards the ground. With his hands. "What the fuck?" "Sensei should start looking for us in about 2 minutes, so I'm removing anything he can use to swing in easily." The pole touches down, and Midoriya immediately walks to the next one. Is he not even sweating? Holy shit! Oh, I forgot to ask Shinso. I'm planning to fight, obviously, but do you want to back me up, or would you prefer heading to the exit? Hitoshi tilts his head with a smirk. What do you think? Midoriya beams. Class 1A, minus the 2 currently taking the exam, fall silent as the large screen finally turns on. "I still don't see why we couldn't watch their prep time," Jiro says, idly twisting her earjacks. Ida chops his arm through the air and launches into a speech about cheating and copying, but the class immediately tune him out as they watch the footage. Midoriya stands in the middle of the street, barefoot and sleeveless. Dangling from the fingers on his right hand are his shoes? Shinso is nowhere to be seen. The camera pans out to show Aizawa-sensei landing on the roof and sending his capture weapon towards Midoriya. Midoriya, who doesn't move from his spot. Midoriya, who raises his shoe weapon, swinging it wildly at the moment of impact and hopelessly tangling it in the ends of the capture scarf. That's when Shinso pops out of an alley, swinging something over his head, and lets go. The projectile hits Aizawa in the face. Aizawa, who is unable to dodge because at that moment of Shinso's throw, Midoriya had braced his feet and tugged his teacher off balance. Aizawa, who eyed the rock-stock projectile with disdain, and been forced to dodge another one as Midoriya gave another yank. With a quick flash of his knife, Aizawa-sensei cuts Midoriya loose. Midoriya, whose grin turns positively evil, as he deftly untangles his shoes and tosses his newly acquired mini-scarf to Shinso. The fight had been quick after that. The two had stayed far enough away from one another that Aizawa-sensei had to split his focus between them. Shinso had set his own capture scarf on Aizawa, who took his attention off Midoriya for 1 second to dodge. But 1 second was all it took. Midoriya swung his shoes over his head and let them fly, where they wrapped around his teacher's legs and sent him crashing to the ground. Hitoshi watches Midoriya wrap the sleeve scraps around Eraserhead's wrists with an air of detachment. They just beat Eraserhead. They just beat Eraserhead without using their quirks. Holy shit! Midoriya would be absolutely terrifying if he wasn't currently beaming up at Hitoshi happily. Should we go for the exit too, Shinso? Hitoshi shares a look with Aizawa-sensei before shrugging disconcernedly. A thought occurs to him, and he grins evilly. Nah, I think Sensei owes us some answers about suppression bracelets. Midoriya's face lights up, and Aizawa lets out a world-weary sigh. Ah, yes, this was good. I actually hadn't read this fic before I podfic'd it. Normally, I just, pull stuff out of my bookmarks that I've already read, and I've bookmarked for, yes, this would be a good podfic. But I just decided to, go to the top of kudos for My Hero Academia and pick a fic that hadn't been podfic'd and just read it. And it worked out. This was good. I like fics where Midoriya is, actually smart. Because in canon, he's smart. He has his notebooks, but he goes square brain when a lot of the time when conflict comes, especially when in regards to his quirk. You analyze quirks as a hobby. Do better. Do better with your own quirk. But anyway, yes, I love badass quirkless Midoriya who does have a quirk, but when it comes time and he doesn't have it, he can kick your fucking ass. Yes. Yes. Hope you enjoyed.